Scaling success, managing growth without losing performance. Scaling a business is an exciting journey, but it's also a test of leadership, systems, and strategy. As organizations grow, they face mounting pressure to perform consistently while expanding in size, geography, and capability. The key challenge is maintaining operational excellence, cultural integrity, and a strong customer experience, all at once. Scaling success is not just about growing fast, it's about growing smart. Without the right systems in place, growth can dilute the very qualities that made a company successful in the first place. This course will introduce the frameworks, mindsets, and tools needed to manage growth without sacrificing performance. We'll examine how businesses scale operations, empower people, and refine processes while holding true to their core values. The ultimate goal? Sustainable scaling, where performance, purpose, and people all grow in harmony. Course overview. In this course, we will explore the essential strategies that enable organizations to scale effectively. As companies grow, the stakes increase, and so do the risks. That's why the first focus is on understanding growth challenges. What obstacles emerge as you expand? Then, we define what scaling really means, going beyond size to consider dimensions like headcount, products, geographies, and infrastructure. Next, we'll look at how standardizing core processes creates stability and how strong middle management becomes critical to execution. We'll explore how culture must scale intentionally to prevent drift and how metrics and systems help you monitor performance at scale. We'll also discuss how to deliver a consistent customer experience even as volume increases. Strategic levers, including people, technology, and capital, must be used wisely. And we'll cover how communication, learning, and talent development all serve as key enablers of sustainable scaling. The course concludes with takeaways and actionable insights. The challenge of growth. Growth is the goal of every ambitious organization, but managing that growth is the real challenge. As teams expand, communication becomes more complex. Misalignment can easily occur when clarity isn't maintained across departments. Decision-making, once agile and fast, often slows down due to added layers and new stakeholders. Cultural consistency, once reinforced through close-knit teams, becomes harder to sustain as new people join. Without proactive planning, operations can become disjointed, leading to inefficiencies and errors. The biggest risk is burnout, for people and systems alike. Leaders must manage the tension between expanding capacity and maintaining high performance. It's not just about scaling up, it's about doing so without breaking what works. Effective growth strategies require understanding these common pitfalls so you can navigate them successfully. Balancing speed with structure and expansion with excellence is what defines successful scaling. The scaling paradox. The scaling paradox lies in the fact that the very traits that drive early success, agility, direct oversight, and hands-on leadership, can become liabilities at scale. A startup-style team of 10 can communicate quickly and pivot easily, but when that team becomes 100 or 1,000, clarity starts to erode. Communication fragments across departments, and once fast decision-making slows due to increased layers of hierarchy. As more people join, cultural consistency gets diluted unless deliberately reinforced. Operational efficiency, once nimble and informal, begins to suffer without structured processes, and customer experience can vary drastically across touchpoints, damaging brand trust. To solve this paradox, leaders must transition from reactive managers to architects of scalable systems. The goal is to preserve the performance engine while expanding capacity, without overloading people or letting quality decline. Recognizing where old methods no longer work is the first step to designing systems that scale. Defining scaling for your organization. Scaling is not simply about becoming bigger. It's about becoming better at delivering consistent impact with greater capacity. True scaling is intentional, sustainable, and rooted in operational excellence. To start, Each organization must define what scaling means in its specific context. For some, it's about headcount scaling, growing teams while maintaining productivity and collaboration. Others may prioritize geographic scaling, expanding into new markets while preserving core standards. Product scaling involves offering more without compromising quality or brand integrity. Customer-based scaling requires systems to personalize and deliver at volume. And infrastructure scaling means building processes, tools, and systems that can handle increased load without breakdown. Not every organization needs to scale in every dimension at once. The key is aligning your scaling strategy with your growth phase and business model. Done right, scaling boosts impact, not just size. Process standardization. As companies grow, informal ways of working begin to break down. What once worked in small teams becomes inconsistent and inefficient across a larger organization. That's where process standardization becomes essential. The first step is identifying the 20% of processes that drive 80% of your results, your mission-critical workflows. These need to be documented into clear SOPs or standard operating procedures. Next, automate repetitive tasks wherever possible. Automation reduces human error and frees up team capacity. Checklists and templates help ensure quality control and consistency in deliverables. And it's vital to create a culture of continuous improvement where teams regularly refine best practices. As Deming said, if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. Clarity, efficiency, and replicability are the cornerstones of scalable operations, and they start with standardized processes. Building strong middle management. In the early stages of a company, founders and executives manage most of the work. But as the business scales, that approach becomes unsustainable. Middle management is essential for translating strategy into action and maintaining performance across growing teams. The shift from doers to enablers requires investing in leadership development early, before growth outpaces capacity. Building a strong leadership bench starts with structured coaching and training. Clarify roles and decision rights, so managers know exactly what they own. Balance autonomy with transparent reporting to ensure alignment without micromanagement. And reinforce cultural values through consistent behavior from managers at all levels. Middle managers are the glue that holds growing organizations together. Their effectiveness can make or break your scaling journey. Developing them intentionally ensures your strategic vision gets executed with integrity and precision. Creating an aligned, scalable culture. Culture is one of the hardest and most important things to scale. As headcount grows, informal ways of reinforcing values break down. Without intention, cultural drift sets in. But when scaled effectively, culture becomes a performance asset and talent magnet. Start by codifying your values into specific, observable behaviors. Move beyond slogans. Define what your values look like in action. Onboard new hires with a strong cultural foundation so they understand expectations from day one. Recognize and reward behaviors that embody company principles to reinforce norms. And watch for early signs of cultural drift. Course correct before misalignment spreads. Culture is what people do when no one is watching. In high-growth environments, it's easy for that to shift into what people do when everyone's watching. A scalable culture is authentic, embedded, and reinforced consistently, even as the organization grows rapidly. Metrics and performance systems. At scale, gut instinct isn't enough. Metrics create visibility, accountability, and alignment across a growing organization. But not all metrics are equal. Effective performance systems balance lagging indicators, like revenue or churn, with leading indicators, which predict future performance. Start by defining clear KPIs for teams and individuals that align with broader strategic goals. Dashboards and scorecards provide real-time visibility into progress. Establish review rhythms. Weekly check-ins for execution, monthly ops reviews for alignment, and quarterly strategy sessions for course correction. Use benchmarks and internal comparisons to identify where issues may arise before they become major problems. Scaling without measurement leads to hidden inefficiencies and uncontrolled complexity. Metrics are the early warning system for growth and the steering wheel for performance, ensuring consistent customer experience. As organizations grow, it's easy to lose touch with what made customers loyal in the first place. New hires, new tools, and new markets can all create variation in service. That's why delivering a consistent customer experience is a non-negotiable part of sustainable scaling. Start by embedding feedback loops directly into operations, not just at the end. That means listening to customers continuously, not occasionally. Train frontline teams consistently across all geographies so that no matter where or how a customer interacts with your brand, they experience the same values and service quality. Avoid overpromising during the sales process. Short-term wins aren't worth the long-term trust you risk losing. Track leading indicators like Net Promoter Score, churn rate, and customer support volumes to detect issues early. At scale, every interaction becomes a branding moment. Make each one count by designing for consistency, responsiveness, and empathy. Strategic growth levers. People. People are the most powerful lever in your growth strategy, if you manage them intentionally. Scaling doesn't mean hiring endlessly. It means hiring smart, developing talent, and maximizing impact per person. Look for individuals with adaptability and learning agility, not just technical skills. These are the people who will thrive as your business evolves. For non-core or seasonal functions, outsourcing can maintain focus and flexibility. During transitions, leverage fractional experts to fill skill gaps temporarily without long-term cost. And most importantly, build strong talent pipelines that anticipate future needs, not just current ones. That means succession planning, skills forecasting, and internal development. The right people, in the right roles, at the right time, produce exponential returns. Talent is your engine. Don't let it become your bottleneck. Strategic growth levers. Technology. Technology is a force multiplier. It allows organizations to do more with less. But in a scaling environment, the wrong tech choices create complexity and technical debt. Start by automating routine workflows using systems like CRM platforms, ERP software, or AI tools. These reduce manual work and create consistency. Then, integrate your data systems. Siloed data slows decision-making and obscures insights. A unified tech infrastructure supports real-time visibility and cross-functional collaboration. Choose scalable platforms, modular, cloud-based systems that grow as you grow. Finally, invest in foundational tools early, before complexity overwhelms your teams. Every minute you spend now building a smart, scalable tech stack saves hours of rework later. Technology isn't a side conversation in scaling. It's a central strategy. Strategic growth levers. Capital. Growth without capital discipline leads to collapse, not scale. Financial sustainability is just as important as revenue growth. Begin with scenario planning. Align capital allocation with specific milestones and growth stages. Don't spend indiscriminately. Avoid chasing vanity metrics like logos, office size, or headcount. Focus on metrics that show true profitability and customer value. Secure funding with discipline, not desperation. Investors and lenders respect strategic clarity and long-term value creation. Stage investments so they follow performance. Validate early wins before pouring in more fuel. Just like in engineering, system overload leads to failure. The same applies to capital. Pouring in too much too soon, without control mechanisms, creates fires instead of acceleration. Strategic growth is capital-efficient growth, with the right amount of fuel, timed precisely. Guardrails against performance decline. As scale increases, so does the risk of decline. Guardrails help protect against the chaos that growth can unleash. First, set focus. Limit priorities to 3 to 5 key initiatives per quarter. Use OKRs, objectives, and key results to align teams and track progress. Overhiring without integration is another trap. New people need onboarding, role clarity, and cultural immersion. Otherwise, performance dips. Founders and executives must evolve from doers into system architects who empower others. Micromanagement doesn't scale, systems do. Underinvestment in infrastructure and automation causes rework and inefficiency. Automate early, and don't ignore change fatigue. Teams under constant change need support, communication, and predictability to stay engaged. Scaling isn't just a technical problem, it's also a human one. Guardrails ensure your systems and people don't burn out as you grow. Managing communication during scale. As organizations scale, communication becomes exponentially more complex. What once was a casual update in a small room now requires structured systems to reach diverse, dispersed teams. The first step is building layered communication. Team level, cross-functional, and executive channels must all be strong and synchronized. Then, implement consistent cadences. Weekly team huddles for short-term alignment, monthly all-hands for broader visibility, and leadership updates for strategic clarity. Repetition is key. Reinforce your mission and goals in every channel and format. Keep reminding teams what matters. Celebrate progress, not just results. Highlight lessons learned, small wins, and cultural moments. Communication is the connective tissue of any scaling effort. When it breaks down, so does performance. Investing in communication infrastructure is not a luxury. It's a growth necessity. Building a learning organization. Scaling requires adaptability. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. That's why the most successful organizations are built to learn. Start by conducting regular retrospectives and postmortems after projects, product launches, or failures. Use them to uncover patterns and drive improvements. Foster cross-team knowledge sharing through communities of practice or peer learning groups. This avoids reinvention and accelerates improvement. Celebrate experimentation, even when outcomes are uncertain. Create psychological safety so teams feel encouraged to try new approaches. Finally, invite upward feedback. Insights from the front lines often surface the most valuable improvements. Leaders who listen, learn, and evolve build organizations that outlast market shifts. In a fast-changing world, execution is necessary, but learning is what keeps you relevant. Scaling people alongside the business. People should grow as fast as the business. Yet one of the biggest risks in scaling is leaving your team behind. Career development must evolve with organizational complexity. Create internal mobility programs so high-potential individuals can grow into new roles, even across departments. Offer structured management and leadership training to prepare future managers before they're needed. Regularly check in on engagement, well-being, and workload. Scaling shouldn't mean burnout. And align individual goals with company strategy. When people see how their work contributes to something larger, they're more motivated and resilient. Scaling isn't just about increasing headcount, it's about building capability. If you want your business to scale sustainably, your people must be equipped and empowered to grow with it. Key takeaways and path to sustainable scaling. Scaling sustainably requires discipline, not just ambition. Begin by assessing your current growth strategy. What's working? What's breaking? Identify which processes are worth standardizing, and then document, automate, and improve them continuously. Invest in building strong middle management, leaders who can scale culture and performance without constant oversight. Implement performance systems that measure what matters and ensure consistent communication to keep everyone aligned. Above all, never lose sight of your foundation, your mission, your people, and your commitment to excellence. Growth should enhance, not erode, what made your company great. Scaling is more than expansion. It's a platform for long-term impact when done intentionally. With the right systems, structure, and mindset, sustainable success becomes not just possible, but inevitable.